afternoon to everybody. My name is Amanda, and today we are presenting based on Woolies integrated financial statements. Right. So the issue here that we are supposed to prove is whether Woolworths performed poorly during 2019. So firstly, I am going to look at the statements. We have to look at certain aspects that will prove whether Woolworths produced poorly or not. Right, so the first statement that we're going to look at is statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, performance indicators. But because of time, we're only going to look at comprehensive income and changes in equity. Right, next slide please. So looking at Woolworths right now, this is a performance indicator. According to their sales, Woolworths missed a negative 1.5% in sales. They were expecting more than that, but then they had a decrease in their sales by negative 1.5 in the WSA, that's a city in Australia, and quietly achieved a negative 0.9, meaning to say they didn't achieve at all. Instead, they decreased by 0.9%. Lastly, they still missed 1.7 of sales in CRJ, that's another city in Australia. And then when we are looking at the comparable sales growth, in WSA, they missed by negative 4.1%, and they still missed in DJ negative 0.4. So meaning to say all this is a decrease in their sales, right? So this is a comparable sales growth. Moving on to the statement of comprehensive income, this side we are looking at their income statement, right? So now look at this. This is an expense. Can you please click so that we can really see? So they are okay, so expenses, they had 23,255,000. Already, if we see on the other side, their profit was only 5,546,000. So their expenses are exceeding their income. So if we look at their profit before tax, it's 2,434,000 rands. And then profit or loss for the year was 3,549,000. Right, now their total income for the year was 3,103,000, proving to say this was already a loss because it's in bracket. So for us to establish this ground, we have to look at certain financial statements, right? Statements such as comprehensive income, statements of changes in equity, performance indicators, among others. So the main focus for today, we will look at comprehensive income for Woolworths and changes in equity together with performance indicators. Right, so the first one that we're going to look at is indicator. So Woolworths has targeted to achieve certain sales during 2018, but then according to what we have right here, Woolworths missed a negative 1.5% sales in WSA, that's a city in Australia, quietly achieved a negative 0.9% in DJ, that's another decrease, and still missed 1.7% in sales in CRJ. So already we have an already we have an idea that Woolworths is performing poorly already before we even establish the foundation of income, right? So comparable sales growth. Now comparable sales growth, right? So in WSA, Woolworths missed a negative 4.1%, and they still missed a negative 0.4%. Then in CRG, they missed a negative 1.8%, meaning to say this is a decrease. Now moving on to the statement of income, right? So we have expenses. Already we can see that there's 23,555,000, which is in red, proving to say that already they are going to face it. Okay, so the loss for the year was 2,434,000 rands, and the loss for the whole year, like total comprehensive loss for the year, was 3,103,000. Right, so now further performance, now we are looking at statement of changes in equity. Changes in equity, okay, so now, okay, equity shareholders interest at the beginning of the year was 19,060,000. 66, and then total comprehensive income for the year, which was actually a loss, was 3,103,000. Loss profit for the year was 3,549,000. That was a loss as well for Woolworths, proving to say that it was a difficult year for them. Share-based payments, including issue segments and cost, was 55,025,000. Dividends to ordinary shareholders was 2,782,000. Hence, chairman to say that Woolworths faced a difficult year and had a loss during that year was true. So, in agreement with Chairman David, it was a loss. It was a difficult.
Woolworths faced a lot of competition in 2018, involving retailers such as Spar, Pick n Pay and Shoprite. Pick n Pay turned out to be the most competitive retailer, which was contrary to Woolworths' price margin, which saw a decline in consumerism, whilst Pick n Pay saw a valid increase, which is verified by the fact that Pick n Pay stores attained a net profit of about a fifth of the financial year. This is partly because of the selling prices cost, which had a cut in the year and a volume growth of 5.1%, representing the strongest underlying trading performances for many years. Hence, Woolworths faced a lot of competition against Pick n Pay, and Pick n Pay turned out to perform a lot better than Woolworths in 2018. This is also verified by Woolworths and Pick n Pay's income statements for 2018. As it is shown that the expenses and operating profit for Woolworths and Pick n Pay were a lot different, showing Pick n Pay as a more competitive and performing better than Woolworths. In 2018, Pick n Pay had expenses of 15,191,000 versus expenses of Woolworths, which were rating at 23,255,000. This itself clearly shows the difference in expenses, which will later result in Pick n Pay performing a lot better than Woolworths.
I'm going to discuss ways to improve Woolworths' performance. So the first one, in terms of the fashion industry, there should be a shift in production from high fashion, since this change alienated its core customers. Woolworths can also focus on various factors to improve its performance, such as decrease in pricing, so that they can be manageable, and this will lead to increase in customers. That is to try and manage the economic situation which they are situated in, thereof manage to still appeal to its consumers. Instead of Woolworths marketing to the public, they should target demographic areas, hence this will enable to focus mainly on the vital customers. Another method is to change its marketing strategy. Instead of Woolworths marketing to the public, they should target demographic areas. Hence, this will enable to focus mainly on their vital customers. They should have defensive nature of its target market, which is the more resilient mid-up pay income and paid. To have a defensive nature of its target market, which is more resilient mid-up pay income bent consumer. Done.
I am going to be addressing the 1 million rand that is being sued towards Woolworths. I'll start off by the cost classification of Woolworths. I'll start by defining what an asset is. According to the conceptual framework, an asset is a resource controlled by the entity as a result of past events and from which future economic benefits are expected to flow to the entity. Secondly, I will define what an expense is. Expenses are decreases in economic benefits during the accounting period in the form of outflow or depletions of assets or incurrences of liabilities that result in decreases in equity, other than those relating. The fee paid by Woolworths, which does not meet the definition criteria of an asset, hence not an asset, however, it does meet the definition criteria of an expense. Therefore, it should be recognized as an expense in the financial statement of Woolworths, since there will be a future decrease.
So
So how is this 1 million going to be classified as? This 1 million is going to be recognized as a provision. And for a provision to take place, there has to be a liability. So what is a liability? For a liability to take place, there has to be a past event. In this case, is there a past event? Yes, Woolworth copied the baby carrier design. So that's a past event. And for a liability to take place, there has to be a present obligation. But in this case, it is not stated whether it is a legal or constructive obligation, but the lawyers stated that it is highly probable that Woolworth will lose the case and has to pay 1 million rand. And another thing, for a liability to take place, there has to be an outflow of money. Meaning to say that there will be an outflow of money if they pay 1 million to where they copied the baby design. Okay, and the amount that they have to pay is 1 million. Therefore, a provision should be made for 1 million at the end of 2019. With all that we have presented today, we would like to thank you.